Hi, Dad. How are you today?
Good.
Well, we're doing a video biography of your life. We're very excited to hear all of your stories. Before we get started, can you just give us your full name, your date of birth, and then the names of your mother and father, my grandmother and my grandfather?
My name is Ephraim Vega. Date of birth is 7/15/45. My father's name is Enrique Vega, and my mother's name is Concepcion Justiniano.
Do you remember the name of your grandparents?
José Justiniano Eulalia Vélez, y son los que me acuerdo en el momento.
Okay. If you can, one of the things that I've always enjoyed about talking to you has been stories about your childhood and a lot of the lessons that I learned from some of those stories. So what I want you to do is, can you go back in your memory to your earliest recollection of your childhood?
Well, I was a happy boy since I born. I have a beautiful parents, had a beautiful family, and I grew up on one of the best family in my country, I would say. So I've been successful all my life, and my priority in life is the family. And the people, when I talk on the Lions Club with some of the fellow Lions, I always said, first thing in my life is Jesus Christ. Second, my family. And the third is a Lion Club where we serve the community. And I'm very happy to be part of it.
Tell me about your family growing up.
Say that again?
Tell me about your family growing up, your brothers, your sisters, and how your parents were with you.
When I said that I'm happy in my life because of my family, none of them been in court, been arrested. None of them have a criminal record. My family is something else. To me, very special. They have a good behavior record. They take care of us all the time, and I'm a happy boy.
What were your parents like?
Where
What were your parents like? Describe your mom and your dad.
well, my father. When you're talking about my father, you're talking about me. We look alike. We act the same. He's very strong. He was, because he passed away. Was very strong, very firm in what he want to do in life. He raised 6 children, 3 boys and 3 girls. And like I said before, I'm very proud of them. But most proud of my father, that he did a good job with raising us up till I was 80 today.
Was your father a very strict dad?
Yes.
And if he was, what did that look like?
Physical?
No, just the way he taught you, treated you, his expectations as a dad to all of his kids.
His concern it always was to raise the children in the good manner. So they really was worried about that we, the child, don't get lost. To be strict, to be honest, to be good, and to be an example for the community. That was his concern, and I believe that he accomplished that dream.
Tell me about your mom.
Mommy is an angel. Mommy, everybody said that she was a piece of meat with two eyes. She was very special. Everybody loved her. And yeah, the best. Best.
Your parents, based on some of the conversations that we've had, were very well known in your community.
Oh, yes.
Can you kind of tell me about their relationship with the people in your pueblo, your town?
Okay, what happened? My father, he have a farm, 44 acres of land. He hired people in the neighborhood to work for him. I remember that he had 11 employees. And mommy, she had to cook for all the employees because in that country there was no restaurant, no place to eat. So, and the worker, they start at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, but at 12, they need to have lunch. So mommy cooked for them. Then the only one who have a car in the neighborhood, it was Papi. My father, he have car, he have a truck, a big truck to carry the sugar cane to the place where they process the sugar. So he was well known in the neighborhood. He was strict. He was a good man. Not because he's my father. It's because I lived that. I was with him. And on the 3 boys, I'm the one in the middle. So I'm the one who was too close to him. When he used to go to the town, I go with him. Everywhere. When he go to work, I go with him. When he went to ride a horse, because we have horse, cow, goat, we got everything. We don't even have to go to the supermarket because the stuff that we eat, we grow in the farm. Oranges, lemon, you can mention all type of fruit, and that's what it makes a good life. I had a very good life. I'm very proud of my parents, very proud of my brothers and sisters, because we are a real family.
You mentioned your brothers and sisters. Can you take me through their names and in order of from the oldest until the baby?
The older one is Ernesto, and he is a pastor in the Pentecostal church. He's well known in the community. He served the community. He helped people, and he preached the gospel his way. I am not that religion, but that don't mean that he stopped being my brother. I respect him the way he is, and he have the religion that he choose, and I,
Who comes after him?
After him came. Before him, it was my sister Esther.
So Titi Esther is the oldest.
She's the older.
Okay. And then comes Ernesto.
Then Ernesto.
And who follows Ernesto?
Me.
You're the
myself.
third? Okay.
And then it was Reina Aurea.
Mhm.
So she's also a Pentecostal. She's a nice sister. When I go over there, she treats me like a king. You know, a family, they're good. They're beautiful people. And you met some of them.
Who comes after Reina?
After Reina, I think it was Neji. Neji,
And then the youngest is Freddy?
no, after Reina was Freddy, and then Neji.
With me.
Freddy, he served the Army, U.S. Army. He right now he's retired, and he's doing pretty good.
You mentioned the farm, 44 acres. That's pretty big.
Mhm.
Did you and all of your siblings work on the farm? Was it just it was everybody?
Even mommy,
Okay.
all of us. Mhm.
And what did a normal day on the farm look like for you and your family?
8 to 5. We work from 8 to 5, and we have to wait for the season. For example, we grow gandules. Gandule, we wait the season. My father also he makes charcoal, and then he take the charcoal to the city and sell it. He sell the orange, plantain, bananas, all that stuff. He take it to the town. And he sell it, and he make the money to pay the mortgage, pay the employees.
So is it safe to say that the way of life that you knew back then, you lived off the land, you lived off the farm? There was you didn't go out and work a normal 9 to 5 like people do today.
No,
So everyone worked on the farm, and that's how
on the
you-
farm, all year long.
When I was a kid, you told me a funny story about your dad.
Uh-huh.
You mentioned that you had a lot of workers that worked on the farm.
Uh-huh.
You kind of talked about it earlier that grandma used to cook for them.
Mhm.
You told me the story one time about one of the workers questioning lunchtime.
Uh-huh.
Can you kind of take us through that story? I
Yeah.
thought it was a very funny story.
Yeah, what happened is that my father called them up and he said, okay, guys, come here. It's 12 o'clock. We're going to have a lunch. Then we're going to do this and that. So one of the guys, his name was Jerome Vargas. He says, Kike. He used to say Kike to him. Kike, it's not 12 o'clock. It's 12:05. And he said, okay, so my clock not good? Boom, and he threw it on the floor, broke it. It's 12:05. So he gave the benefit of the doubt, saying that, admitting that, but it was not 12:05. But he was a little bit violent when that talk, because he wants the world, the people, the neighbor, everybody to know that he is straight man, that he don't play game, that he don't steal nothing from you, but he don't want you to steal from him either. So he was a great man. Every time I think about that, I laugh because, Papi was, I haven't met nobody in this earth like him. It's a human being. He make a lot of mistakes like everybody else. But he was an excellent parent, excellent man, excellent boss, because he was the boss for all of the people who worked there. Yeah, I'm very proud of him.
Would you say your dad was your hero?
Oh yeah, definitely, yes. To me, yes.
Tell me about your first job. Tell me about your second job, because it sounds like your first job was working on the farm, right? But what was your first job or your second? Away from the farm.
I work in a gas station, and I make $15 a week for 6 days. $15 for 6 days. And then when I start working there, I marry my first wife.
I was going to ask you.
And the boss, Jesus Ramirez, he said, because you're going to get married, I'm going to give you $5 more in your salary. Starting this weekend, you're going to collect $20. And he did it. And then he married. In order for me to get married, I had to sell my transportation, which was a bike. I have a beautiful bike. I sold it, and with that money, I bought my dress. And we did something poor but beautiful. Yes.
Something I forgot to ask you is, what town in Puerto Rico were you raised in, where this farm is located?
Las Marias. Las Marias, close to San Sebastián, close to Lares, close to Maricao, San Germán. It's close, it is in the west area.
And what did you do at the gas station?
Serving gas. People come, they stop. And then someone, they fill out the tank. The price was 19 cents a gallon. And after that, I get tired, and then I went to work on the grocery store.
Before you get to the grocery store, so you worked at the gas station. How old were you when you started working at the gas station?
16.
16. And then how long were you working at the gas station when you met your first wife?
What's a month? I would say probably about 8, 10 months.
Okay. And what was your first wife's name?
Norma.
Tell me, you kind of described, you sold your bike to pay for your...
To pay for my suit.
For your suit. Were you talking about a bike? Are you talking like a bicycle or like a motorcycle?
Bicycle.
Bicycle. Okay. So you sold your bicycle so you can buy your suit.
Mm-hmm.
And you got married, so did you stay working at the gas station, or is that when you went and started working in the grocery store?
Yeah, but a couple weeks after that.
A couple weeks after that. What were you making at the grocery store?
I think it was 20, the same.
Okay.
20. But what I don't like in the grocery store is that the lady owns the store, and she has a son. And the son is a crook, and he used to go and open the register machine and put money on his pocket. And she think that I was stealing the money, and it was his son, her son. So, but what I did, I quit. Then I went to a car wash, and I worked in a car wash, making about the same money too. So after that, I can spend the whole day telling. I work in so many places until I went to Puerto Rico, and I met Nelson Torre. Nelson Torre is a cousin of Johnny Torre, and Johnny Torre was the president of the Metro. And he told me one day, if you don't feel good doing what you do, go to this man and tell that I sent you there.
You met Nelson Torres in Puerto Rico?
In Puerto Rico, he had a business there.
So you started working at this gas station at 16. You got married. About a month later, you started working at a grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
But you left there and working at a car wash. So you were kind of going in between jobs for a while. When did you meet Nelson Torres? How old were you when you met Nelson Torres, or when you had that conversation with him about Johnny Torres?
Well, I met him because he had a store, and I used to go. But one day, he told me to find me something to go to Johnny Torre. So Johnny Torre, I spoke to him, and next day, he hired me. And in 2 months, I become the bigger manager of the store
And where was this store at?
that was in the Bronx Terminal Market.
Okay, so that's where I kind of want to make sure that I get the timeline right. So when you tell me, let's back up. Tell me about when you went to New York the first time. How old were you when you went to New York the first time?
17.
17. Okay. What made you go to New York?
Everybody have a dream to come to New York. Most of the people in Puerto Rico. So I have I would say a friend of mine that he used to come back and forth to New York. And I spoke to him in Puerto Rico. I said, you know what? If you go with me to New York, I pay for your ticket and my ticket. And he said, okay. When do you want to go? And now? No. Give me a couple of days and I'll let you know. So then he called me. He said, okay, ready to go. So I bought the ticket. When at those days, the flight that today you do it in 3 hours, it was 7.5 hours. At that time, they served rice and beans and beef in the airplane. You eat a lot. So I had a great time. So I went with him to his brother's house in Manhattan. Then the next day we went to get a job. And he was hired, but they didn't hire me. So I was the whole day having a coffee and a cheeseburger. Because that's what I want, that I can say in English. I said, give me a coffee and a sandwich.
So when you went to New York at 17, you didn't speak any English at all?
No. My English I learned in the street, not in the school.
What did, because obviously I was born in New York and I was raised there. What did New York look like when you first went at 17? What was New York like?
To tell you the truth, it's not a big difference because buildings, they always they are the same. And there's a lot of places like Radio City Music Hall. All those places is the same. The only thing is the different is that you used to go with $2, $3. Mm-hmm. Now you gotta pay $50, $60, $100 for the ticket.
What was
in Radio City Music Hall, in the Lincoln Center, all those places. I used to go Radio City.
How much money you had in your pocket when you got to New York the first time?
$20.
$20?
Mm-hmm. And with that $20, next day that I didn't find a job, I took a bus asking to people. I took a bus to Patterson, New Jersey. And then I met my cousin there, Ismael. And the same day afternoon, he took me, he looked in the paper and they have the job in the paper. He said, you want to go work in a restaurant? Of course. He said, they don't pay too much, but you got food, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and you don't have to pay here. You're going to stay with me here. I said, go ahead. So the same day I started work.
In Patterson, New Jersey? In
Patterson. $60, 60 hours, $1 per hour. That's what I made.
Was there did you get tips or no? Just $1 an hour?
No. You just make $1 an hour.
What did you do at the restaurant?
Dishes.
Dishes?
Dishes. Clean the table. Clean the bathroom if it's.
When you, obviously, you grew up on a farm. So what was your first impression when you got to New York? You saw these high-rise buildings and buses everywhere.
Oh no, it was in the beginning scary. You see so many buildings, See the difference? The people in New York, they don't walk, they run. And you always think that they coming to eat you. The difference in New York is from the sky to the earth.
You were working at the restaurant,
Uh-huh.
60 hours a week for $1 an hour.
60 hours.
Your wife, did she come with you? Did she
No,
stay
then
there?
I brought her. I had an apartment. The apartment was $40 a month. You don't pay $40 a week here for a room. I had the whole apartment for $40. The cost of living it was really cheap, and they had job all over. You have place to work. You take a job today, you quit tomorrow and get another job.
How long did you stay working at the restaurant?
It wasn't that much. Probably about a year, I would say.
What did you do after that?
After that, I have a guy, he used to come to eat at the restaurant. And he told me that these people paying you $60 for 60 hours? No. He said, I'm gonna get you a good job. So he gave me a job on Fair Lawn Dairy, helping to load the truck. But then I get the driver license. And the boss says, you already have your license? Come on, take this truck, this is where you're gonna go. So he gave me a help that he know where is the stops, delivering milk. House, milk, door to door. So then I used to make, I had 3 routes. I used to make $340, $360 a week. So I make a good money there.
So did you stay working there for a while?
I don't remember exactly, it was a little bit more than a year.
And then what did you do after that?
Went to Puerto Rico.
Why did you go to Puerto Rico?
Because I have an application pending to be a fireman. And I went back to Puerto Rico. They hired me, and I quit the same day that they hired me.
And tell me the story of why you quit.
When they told me that you have to be here from 10 o'clock in the night to 10 o'clock in the night on the next day, I said, no, I'm not going to stay 24 hours. No. And then I tried to get better shift, but he told me, this is what it is, you take it or leave it. I said, you know what? I leave it. I don't want it. So my brother, Neto, he was hired at the same time, but he stayed. He worked about 3 years and as a fireman in San Germán, Puerto Rico.
And I remember you telling me a story of why he left the fire department. Why did Neto leave the fire department?
I don't remember.
Okay. So you went back to Puerto Rico to be a fireman. The hours didn't work for you, so what did you end up doing after that?
Came back to New York.
Okay.
I fall in love with New York.
Did you go back to your same job? What did you end up doing when you went back to New York?
No, I used to work in a place that they manufacture tire for cars. So then I was making more money. I was happy there. I bought a car, 1953 Chevy Bel Air, stick shift, 4 doors. So then I used to go to New York every weekend. Every time I have a chance, I love to go to New York. But I live in Patterson.
You just drive?
Yeah.
What was did you take the GW Bridge to get to New
Yes.
York? What was the toll back then? You remember?
I think it was a quarter.
Oh.
Today is $16 one way.
Okay. So you're working for this tire company. You bought this beautiful Bel Air, and
Mhm.
you're driving back and forth on the weekends.
Uh-huh.
Sounds like you made it, right?
Yeah,
So,
I was good.
So what was next for you at that point?
You know, it's hard to, you know, when you move from your country, it's like you leave USA to go to Russia or to go El Salvador, or you're gonna miss USA because you're born here. This is you are how you call your patria. So you always want to come back. So I used to go Puerto Rico and come back, go and come back, until I would say until I met your mother. Then I stay established here. Then I don't move nowhere. Then I have to start thinking as an adult. Then I can't play game. I have a big family.
So when you say you're going back and forth, were you just visiting Puerto Rico, or were you moving back to Puerto Rico and then you would move back? To
Both.
New York?
I used to go, you know, visiting, and I used to go and stay. And the play when I stay in Puerto Rico, I did it. I was hired on the insurance company. I get the license for a insurance broker in Puerto Rico. Then I was the general manager. Everywhere I go to work, I grow up real fast. And everywhere when I go to work, said, if I'm not gonna be the boss here in the next 3-4 months, I quit. So then I work in a company, El Sol de Borinquen. They sell cakes, like intimate cakes.
Was this in Puerto Rico?
Mm-hmm. So then I work with that company too. So I work in the insurance and that. Then I was selling liquor for International Liquor in San Juan. I have to drink every day to show the people my product, the quality. And one time I get drunk and I hit the fence, and the boss called me and he said, I pay you to get the people get drunk, not you to get drunk. I said, you know what? Take your job, stick it where. I don't want it no more. So I didn't even want to collect my money. But I left that job too.
So those are 3 different jobs you mentioned in Puerto Rico. You were doing insurance, selling liquor, and the third one, what was the other one? Bakery? Cakes? Right. Okay. So when you would come back to New York, what other jobs would you do when you would come back?
In New York, it was so many jobs. One time, I came. I said, okay, I gotta get a job. So I used to live with my uncle. And I found a job. The people here, they look for the job in the newspaper. It's not like today, they go on the internet in the newspaper. So I went to the store, I bought the newspaper, and I see a company hiring people for truck driver and to get to help. So I applied. I went to talk to the Jewish man. He said, okay, the truck is yours. Tell the secretary to give you the job. Just like that. So I grabbed the truck, and then I get Rate. You remember Rate?
I do.
So Rate was one of my helpers, and we too.
Did you meet them there at the truck company? Did you know them
No,
before?
no, no. I know that from before, from Puerto Rico. So then I had my two helpers. I got my truck. And at the same time that I was taking the truck out, the truck had no power steering. So it was very hard. So I hit the car twice, the one in front of me, because, I can't control it. But then when the truck is running, it's different. When the truck is running, you don't need too much power to move the steering wheel. So I was making good money. One day I made 13 moving in one day. So
the truck was to do to move people from their homes to their homes. So like a moving company.
Yeah, a moving company, Super Express. And 6 months later, I bought the company, and I was the owner. And I used to make $1,700 a week. I used to make a lot of money.
Rate.
Rate was one of my helpers.
I want to talk about Rate for a second because he's someone that I grew up knowing. He wasn't a big guy, but he was a very aggressive, tough guy. And you have some pretty good stories about Rate not taking shit from anybody.
No.
Can you tell me some good stories about Rate when you guys got into some fights?
Oh, that was in Brooklyn. I went the truck, when we finished loading the truck, either Reina's husband, he used to work for me. So then I told either move the truck, because I saw something that I didn't like. There was a lot of black people around there. And then I said, move the truck and don't get out of the truck. Stay in the truck with the engine running. So he did it. But when he did it, the black guy, he said that he hit his car. I told him, you know what? I'm being here, I don't see that. So stay away from me, please. I don't want to have any trouble. He said, no, we're going to have a fight. Oh, that's what you want? So I pulled from the table, the legs of the table, la pata de la mesa. So I pulled it and I took it. And then Rate have a knife. And Rate run the guy with a knife. And Morenos, when they see a knife, they run. And then I said, either you stay there, don't move. So I get in the truck, Rate get in the truck, and I took off. But then I don't know where they have so many rocks, and they start throwing rocks in the truck. You only hear the noise, boom, boom, boom. But we get rid of them. That was one of them. One time in Jennings Street in the Bronx, there was a shooting. And I enjoy looking for that. You don't see that every day. And either and Rate, there was, they was afraid. See the bullet run. 7 times they hit my truck. 7 holes they did in my truck. But that's all it happened.
So you're making pretty good money with this moving company.
Oh yeah.
You remember how old you were at this point?
Probably about 20, 21.
Do you have any kids yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about
both of them.
Tell me about your first 2 kids.
Linda and Junior.
Tell me about Linda and Junior and what it was like to become a dad at that point in your life.
Tell you, I love my kids a lot. But when you are too young to have a kid, you don't really appreciate that much. Now, but when you are mature, like now for me, I see a kid, and even if it's only my grandkid, I love them. I mean, joy. I love it. But at that time, my mind wasn't something else. Drinking, having a party, playing, the good life.
When you would go back and forth from Puerto Rico to New York, would your wife Norma, Junior and Linda, come with you? Or would you leave them in Puerto Rico for periods of time? And then
Yeah, they came here to New York. They came probably about 7, 8 times. Until the last time that I told her, you know what? This time you're going to leave, but you're not going to come back. So make sure what you're doing.
And tell me about that. What happened? What happened then? Why did you make that decision?
She is a great woman, but she's ignorant. She's so ignorant that today, 50 years after that, she haven't get married. She never get married. So who wants to carry that problem? And she was a pain. Not a bad girl, not a prostitute. It was a good girl, but stupid at the same time.
Looking back now, do you still have that same opinion, or do you think some of the reason why things didn't work out was because you also were not mature enough to be in that kind of relationship at that point, being so young and having kids?
Yeah, I was not mature. I wasn't ready to be a father. But when I have Linda, it start changing my life. She used to wait for me at the window. Sometimes I get home 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and she was there waiting for me.
So Junior was the oldest.
Uh-huh.
And how much older is Junior to Linda?
1 year.
1 year. Okay. So with Junior, you still loved him. He was your son, but you were doing your thing, drinking, having a good time, trying to enjoy your youth. But when Linda came around, you started opening up your eyes a little bit more to being a parent.
Mm-hmm.
And did that help your relationship with Norma, or did it have no effect?
Not really, not really. Because, I was thinking I can't live the rest of my life like this.
When you say like this, do you mean like going back and forth from New York to Puerto
No,
Rico?
I'm fighting.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get to. So tell me what your relationship with Norma looked like.
Today?
No, then.
Oh,
You
by
said
then?
fighting, so was it?
Well, she was my love. The first love, and we married legally. We have a nice wedding, and everything it was fine. But the thing is, she was too jealous. I can't breathe. She had me tight. If I said, because I used to work on a taxi cab also in New York, so when I go to work, she says, no, you're not going to go to work. What you're going to do is, hang around with a bitch. That's what she think that I was going to do it, but not always was wrong, but not every time, because how I am going to support family if I'm going to be hanging around all day.
Eventually, you got divorced.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your life after you divorced Norma.
I married Mary Concepcion, and I have a son. His name Carlos Enrique Vega, Carlitos.
You remember how old you were when you met Mary?
In the 20s, but I don't remember.
So you married her, you had Carlito. And tell me about Carlito.
Carlito, he have a health problem since he born, and he never walk. So special need.
Back in I want to say 1999, myself, Ronald, and Ernest went to Puerto Rico with you to bury Carlito.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you have the speech, right? I don't remember much, but I did what I had to do, and I support him financially since he born. Even after that, when he passed away, his mother asked me that she have a $2,200 that for funerals, and I told him leave it in my hand, I pay it. So I pay the $2,200.
During that time, you went through a lot. You had to bury Carlito. A couple years before that, you lost your parents.
Mm-hmm.
What were those experiences like for you? How were you able to get through that?
Well, I believe that when Papi and Mommy passed away, I already met the church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saint. And this is like to be, for me, was like to be in college. I learned so much. That's why I love the church so much. And I believe that one of the biggest blessings that I have is that I learn, how to be better and set up a goal that every day you have to try to be better, better, better. So
that version of you is the father that I grew up with. So I know exactly what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of want to go back to Mary. And you married her and you had Carlito.
Mm-hmm.
How long did that marriage last? And then what happened after that?
We was married for 2 years. And the main problem was because that woman, it was so neat, so nice, so smart. She treated me like a king. But I don't listen to her the way that I should. And some of the family members, they have a different opinion about her. So I listen to them instead of listening to her. Because she was a perfect woman. But then I decided I'm going to leave it because, she's never going to be part of the family. So one time, I bought the ticket to New York, and a friend of mine, he worked in a radio station named Carlos. So I told Carlos, I need you to take me to the airport, I'm leaving. Okay. It's from Mayagüez to San Juan. It's 3 hours. So he took me to the airport, and he says, how much money you got in your pocket? I said, I got $20. He said, here, you got 20 more for yours in case. So with $40, came back and I never went back. I went back for vacation, but not to stay in Puerto Rico no more. That was the end.
Did Mary know that you were leaving?
She knew it, but what she didn't know is that I wasn't going to go back. She was expecting me to go back.
So what did you do when you got back to New York?
After that, I started in the car business. Car, the insurance, all the stuff, all what we did.
And then while you were doing those things, you got married again.
With your mother.
Okay. Tell me about when you met my mother.
That was the most beautiful thing that happened to me in my life. The first date that I had with her, she went with Lisette. So I went to a restaurant, a fine restaurant in Barchester. Oh, I forgot the name of the restaurant. Something fancy, beautiful place to go. We went for dinner there.
How old was Lisa?
Oh, the name the restaurant, Las Cascadas. You know what is Cascada? The water that it runs, like Canada. That is Cascada.
Yeah. Waterfall.
Waterfall. So, like
How old was Lisette? Do you remember?
Lisette was 12 years.
12 years old.
Yeah, it was in the beginning. As a matter of fact, that was the first time that I went out with your mother, with Lisette.
How did you meet Carmen Manuela?
I was a boss in the Bronx Terminal Market, La Metro. So, Migdalia, her sister, used to work for me. And then Migdalia asked me to go to visit her because she was going to have a dinner at her home. So I went there, and they danced, and I had a good time there. But I fall in love with her sister, which is your mom. That day, I got crazy, and I started calling her. I want to see your sister. Please, give my number, tell him to call me. And a couple months later, we got married. We married before we lived together. And we married in a restaurant that you know, the
Hawaii Kai?
Hawaii Kai. You remember?
Yeah, you took me there for my 12th birthday.
You danced.
Yeah.
You danced with the girl.
Remember.
So we celebrate our wedding there.
I heard a story from Mom, and Migdalia told me the story too. Mom was married, living in Puerto Rico, to her first husband. Lisette's dad, Papote's dad, Gloria's dad, Gula's dad. He had an accident on a construction site, and he didn't survive the accident. He passed away. Migdalia wanted to go to Puerto Rico for the funeral, but she couldn't afford to go. And you bought her a ticket and told her, don't worry about work. You go be with your family. You remember that?
Yeah. But no, it was the only time that I helped Migdalia. I've been helping her since I met her. So I helped her, and I pay Mommy's ticket, and I give anything they want. Because to me, I was making good money in Metro. So if I make the money, to spend it with my family. And by then, I was quitting to drink, because drink is where you spend most of the money and where it causes a lot of problems. I never hear about someone that drink that they didn't have any problem. Even get a speeding ticket, losing the license for anything, you know, drink is the worst thing I did. I really repent. But right now, I can drink if I decide to drink. It doesn't hurt my kidney. There's nothing have to do with that. But I won't take a drink even if they pay me $1 million, because that could cause a habit, and if I get a habit again to drink, I'm going to be dead soon.
There's a rumor they used to smoke too. Is that true?
Yeah, I drink and I smoke.
What was your cigarettes of choice?
Kent.
Kent?
Mm.
And your drink of choice? Were you a beer guy? Were you a liquor guy?
Liquor.
What was your favorite liquor?
I drink good stuff like peach. There's another one, name brand. Because when I was in Metro, I get a lot of free liquor, whiskey. Chivas Regal. That bottle cost $80 at that time. Today, probably $200.
You left Puerto Rico, left Mary, and didn't go back except to visit. When you got back to New York, did you start working immediately at the Metro, or how did you come to start working there?
I never spent more than 2 days without a job. Never. I go back to New York next day or the day after I was working.
Was it just easy? There was more jobs. It was easier just to go and.
Those days there was job everywhere. You go to the grocery store, pharmacy, all the store, they have a sign. We hiring people. We hiring.
And was it obviously different? Like if you wanted to get a job back then, you didn't have to wait for a background check, and you can start working the same day.
No. They need you. They hire you right there, and it's fine.
You remember what you started doing when you went back to New York after you left Mary?
I don't remember exactly. I believe that was a moving company.
So you mentioned before that you had a friend named Nelson Torres, and he introduced you to Johnny. So when you went back to New York, I'm just curious when that part happened, when you started working at the Metro. How long did it take you to meet Johnny from the time you went back to New York?
I would say about 3-4 months.
And you started working there just as an employee, but it didn't take you very long to become the boss there. Can you kind of take me through your experience working for Johnny and how you were able to move up into that position?
Well, to be a manager at Metro, that opened so many doors. A Radio Wado, the president of Radio Wado, he said Spanish news for more than 100 years. So Nelson Laverne, he was the president. One time he went to visit us at Metro, and he told me, Vega, he got a limo, a big white limo. He said, put your eyes on my limo, because that was an area that it wasn't that good. So he went upstairs. When he came down, he said, do you like to go to Dominican Republic? Yo le digo, who doesn't want to have fun? Okay, tell me when you want to go. I'm gonna send you the ticket to go. He bought me a ticket, first class to Dominican Republic. He paid for the hotel. What was forgot the name of the hotel. Everything paid. Everything, even the taxi, from the airport to the hotel. So Metro opened so many doors for me that I, to work there, it was have fun. And I never did a job that I don't like it. You know your job, you're doing your job. Why? Because you like it. But if you don't like it, I'm the first one that's gonna recommend you change a job, even if you're gonna make half of the salary. You have to be comfortable where you work. You have to feel. You have to enjoy it. That way, you see the life better from the other side. And also, I would say to you guys that work is an honor. Don't stay home. Don't play game. Don't play football only. Work. Because the money, that's where it comes from. The thing that you did, guys, you and Madison, to buy your home before you marry, that is an excellent move. Excellent move. So, and this is applying not only to you, apply to you, Jordan. You don't need to have a wife to own the house. Even it's better if you own the house right now. So, when you own a house, you have a lot of privilege. Like good people been in jail, not because they did something wrong. They found, the juror, they found you guilty, but probably you are not. What happened? You have to pay not the fines, how you call you put money in guarantee to bail. But if you own a house, you don't have to pay the bail. With your house, you can put the bail. You accept with your property. So I am too old and sick to think about a house. I'm thinking about the apartment. But for you, have a house is the best investment. The best. A lot of people want to tell you, you know what? Why don't you buy an apartment? And you don't have to clean the grass. You don't have to do this and that. Wrong. Wrong. The way you did it is the perfect way you did it.
Metro. Started working at Metro. What did you start doing while you were there? What was your first job?
Truck driver.
Okay.
Doing deliveries. And then, about 5 weeks later, the manager resigned. He's a Colombian guy, he went to Colombia. And Johnny Torre called me, he said, this is what is going to happen here. This is the keys, and from now on, you are the boss.
So there's two things I want to touch on there, because they're really important stories that I remember. The first one is, why did Johnny Torres choose you, a truck driver, after only 5 weeks? And then my second question, if you can combine the two, is, tell me about Johnny Torres. He was such an important part of your story.
Oh, yeah.
The people, I know that we being your kids, we know, but your grandkids should know who Johnny Torres is, because he played such an important part in your life.
Johnny Torre, to me, is a hero. is one of the smartest Puerto Rican guys in New York. He have a lot of connection. He's a powerful man. The mayor, he used to go, Mayor Koch, he used to go every other week to Metro to talk to us. He was an excellent man, that mayor. Okay, so Johnny have a control in the political manner, and he born to serve. He served the community. Especially he served on the side of business. He started with Metro, and then in Metro he got 5 more companies. Metro Spanish Food Merchandise, Vocero Metro, Metro Mercantil, Metro Business Service, and Metro Federal Credit Union. All those companies in one. So we have a control all the bodegas. So what happened? Everywhere I go, there is a bodega. And most, 90% they know me. That's why when I start working on my own, it was so easy because I already have the door open.
Metro was a cooperative.
Yes.
So during that time, most of the bodegas, if not all, were owned by Puerto Rican businessmen.
Sí.
Johnny saw that some of these businessmen, or most of them, were not getting the kind of support
Exactly.
from product lines, from corporations.
Mm-hmm.
So Johnny started a cooperative where all the bodegueros invested in this cooperative, and Johnny oversaw this cooperative, and in doing so was able to develop a business where they brought the products in to New York and distributed those products to themselves. That is the most brilliant, brilliant.
Oh no, he is very smart.
At the time was unprecedented for these Puerto Rican Hispanic men to not only do this, but have the support of Mayor Edward Koch. Johnny Torres is pretty much running the Bronx at this point.
Oh yeah.
And Johnny Torres was the most important figure in the business of bodegas, supermarkets at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And right next to Johnny Torres as his right-hand man was you. How did you accomplish that feat to get into that position? You don't just drive trucks for 5 weeks and Johnny Torres picks you and gives you the keys.
Well, he saw the potential that I have.
What was that potential? Tell me about the potential. Don't be modest. This is your. Tell us what you were like at that time.
My shift, it was till 4:00 p.m. And sometimes we have a delivery. We don't have the driver. Not everybody drive a truck. Everybody could drive a car, but not a truck. So at 4:00, when I close the door, I go out for deliveries. 1, 2, 3 deliveries. So that way we keep the customer happy, the bodeguero happy. So Johnny saw that ability, and that's why he called me, to be the general manager. And in the office upstairs, they have all offices. They all like me for some reason, no nothing. But they love me so much that Johnny closed his eyes and he put a Metro in my hand. And then he started working in new corporation, like Federal Credit Union, all that stuff.
You play the role of Johnny's right-hand man, but you were also the enforcer of that place. You used to carry a gun.
Uh-huh.
And there was people that was trying to take what Johnny built. Tell me about some of those, because I know the stories, but we all want to hear it. Some of the stories of people that tried to take control and what you did to make sure that Johnny stayed in the position that he was in.
But at the same token, I was like his bodyguard. And I have two guns. One for the premises that I put him on my leg, and the other one over here. One is carry for the state of New York, not only in New York City, the whole state. And the other one, it was premises, only in the premises in the metro, in the business place. So one time it came a truck driver from the Fazio line. They deliver Pampers and Charming, all the stuff. So I had two more trucks outside. And then he came and he parked. I tell him, listen, you can't do this. I got two more trucks waiting. You're going to be the third one. And the guy started fighting with me, arguing. So I told him, oh, he took the hand truck, put him in his trunk. And he was coming out. I said, no. So he put his leg and he says, if you want to take that out, you have to pass my legs. So, are you sure? Because I'm going to do it. I don't play game. Go ahead. Boom. Le rompí los dedos. Broke two finger.
Toes.
Toe. So I broke. Then they sued the Metro. But they didn't get no money anyway. Metro have so many lawyers, so much connection. The Union 147, they want to get into Metro. We stopped them. Because I never believed in the union.
There was a lot of union support from employees, but a lot of businesses didn't support the unions because it took power away. There was, in every business across the United States at that time, there was a lot of back and forth with unions. So during your time, you're saying that the unions were also causing Metro issues. They were trying to infiltrate what you guys were doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like that. The workers, they listen to you, and you're gonna repeat the same thing every day, that you're gonna have this benefit, that you have to stop being a slave, this and that. So the people, they confuse. And that's why they get a mess. And one time, Nate Melo, he called on the microphone, and he said, everybody stop, come to the front, we're gonna have a strike. When that happened, I went to running to the front. I told the guy, whoever do what Nate told you, you are gonna be out next day. And then when Nate came, I bid him, you go out of here. And then he sat outside. He said, no, I'm not gonna leave. He goes, you know what? When I close, you're gonna see if you're gonna leave or not. But then after that, he came back and he talked to me. He said, I'm sorry. So everything was normal. But if I'm not that brave, believe me, they was gonna take over. And if they take over, I lost my power. When you are in power, you have to keep it. If not, you're gonna be a loser. I don't want to be a loser. Never been, never will.
During that time, there was a lot of unions that were run by organized crime, by mafias. Did you ever encounter any of those versions of unions,
No.
mafia people? Was it more or less they stayed away from the Puerto Rican businessmen because they were united at that time?
That happened at the time that what was the mayor at that time? He was a district attorney,
Giuliani?
Giuliani. Giuliani, that was the best mayor in New York. So bodegas, all type of business in New York, they have to have a private sanitation. So you gotta pay them someone 20, 25, 50, 100. So it all depends the waste that they have. So a lot of people, they feel like, they was paying $20 a month. Now it came another one that increased to 30 to 35. There was another one that it decreased for $5. And $5 is not much, but $5 2 days a week, that's 10, 20, 30, 40. It's $40 in a month. So they don't want to pay that. They can't afford it. So the mayor, Giuliani, he came, he said, no, this is what's going to happen here. Not what you say, it's what I'm saying. I'm the mayor. You have to do this. So same thing he did with a lot of places where the union was. Private sanitation, that was number one.
And private sanitation at that time was run
By the mafia.
by the mafia primarily
Mhm.
at that time. And Giuliani, as a district attorney, he prosecuted at that time, which is very famously known as the time where he took down some of the most, including the Gambino family,
See,
and pretty much ended the mafia as it used to be. So during that time, you guys benefited from that.
mhm.
So you worked at the Metro, and while you were working there as Johnny's right-hand man, you met Mom. So we're back to when you met Mom,
Uh-huh.
right? And then you got married with Mom. You met Lisette on the first date. Can you tell me about Bule, Gloria, Papote? What was it like to get married, and then, because you're not just marrying Mom, right? You're marrying the 4 kids that are coming with her.
Uh-huh.
So tell me about that experience as a father.
Well, the best thing happened to me in my life, it have names and last name. Lisette Pizarro, Gloria Pizarro, Edwin Pizarro, y Bule, Carmen Pizarro. That was the best thing. Without them, I would fail again, because when I have my step granddaughter and grandson, my daughter and son, when I met them, I fall in love instantly, because I like kids. I never forgot the first part of the family that I have. It was what was her name? Naida, her third daughter. And we have to make a line to get together to play with her. And after Gloria and the rest, you came. So then, after you, Ronnie and then Ernest. So the family, it was right there. It was 7. But I still have 3 more. It was Calito, Linda, y Julia. So in general, it was 10 kids. And since today, if they need anything, I'm willing to help them anything. I always be with them. I never forgot the last car that I bought for Junior. He asked me to get $300 to buy a Chevy Nova. So I sent him the money. He bought the car. And everybody happy.
So you guys were kind of like the Brady Bunch.
Uh-huh.
Tell me about, you kind of mentioned Lisette. Tell me about Lisette, Papote, Gloria, and Bule. What were they like to you when you first met them? Their personalities, why you fell in love with them?
Lisette told me one thing that I still have in my heart, like the first day. She says, "Can I call you daddy?" That was so beautiful from her. I said, "Of course, I'm your daddy. Your real daddy is dead, but I'm here for you." Yeah, it was so beautiful for her. Gloria, I bought the last Pampers for her, so she was a real baby. And she was very cute. She had a smile that everybody fall with her because her smile. Bule, she was more serious, but she was a good girl. And Papote, he have a lot of problem communication with mommy. So I don't know what mommy's doing.
Don't worry about mommy, we're talking to you.
Entonces, Papote, when mommy came here from Puerto Rico, Papote stayed with Titi Rosin. And then she asked me, I said, no, bring it. So I gave her the money to pay the ticket to bring the kid here. And there's a lot of stuff that he don't want to eat. He was a pain. He was afraid to go to bed by himself. He was crying. So what I did is, you don't need too much attention like him. So what I did is, at the time of the bed, so I used to lay down in his bed for a while and let him fall asleep. When he was asleep, I get up and go to my bed. So to make him feel good, and I love him. Same way that I love him, he loved me too. When I go to Puerto Rico, I don't have to do nothing. I don't have to put my money, my hand in my pocket to get some money to pay anything. If I want to buy anything, I don't even say anything because I don't want him to buy it. So I keep my mouth shut. But if I said I want this, here. He paid $275 for one guayabera that I put him in the Jeffrey's wedding.
I remember.
Papote bought me the guayabera. $275. With that I buy it, it's good. Yeah, but he wanted the guayabera. That was the issue too. You picked that, I believe, or ella.
I'm not sure. It's hard to go back and remember that. So you raised them, and you spend more time with them than you did your own oldest kids.
With the older, yeah, because they was in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
But with you guys here, we always go every week. We go everywhere. Great Adventure, Hershey Park. Había una en, not upstate, by past New Rochelle. There was one amusement park there, nice. We used to go to Montaña del Oso. We used to go the 7 days. Well, everywhere we keep ourselves busy.
You got married. You had 4 kids in the house now. You stopped drinking.
Mm-hmm.
You're the big boss. The big boss's right-hand man in Metro. But you ended up leaving the Metro. Why did you leave Metro, and what did you do after that?
I wanted to start on my own. I have a candy route. I used to sell candy to the bodeguero, and I make $1,200 in 3 days. So that time I have more money and more time to stay with you.
You said you'd stay with me.
We saw.
I was born
Sí, ya tú,
not too long after you got married, right?
sí, pero yo, Papote y los demás habían nacido ya.
Mm-hmm. They were already here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what was your reaction when you learned from mommy that she was pregnant with me?
Well, I believe that everybody wants to be a father. It might be probably 1% that they're not ready or they don't want. But to have a children is the biggest blessing in life. I never repent. I never feel like I did something wrong. If the time goes back the calendar, I will do exactly the same thing.
So mommy got pregnant with me. I was born, and then you had the candy route, and then you had a bodega too, right? Did you get into?
In between, I have a grocery store, the used car dealer, the insurance company office, the moving company. I have a cab. I used to work as a yellow cab, and then I have my own company with 5 taxis, Newport Car Service. So I have 5 cars. But people didn't respond, and they used to crash the car, or they get stuck, they leave the car, and then they call me, the car is there, go pick it up. And you know, when you work with a used car, but it was the first, best thing that happened to me, because I'm out of that. And then I bought 2 or 3 more, but only for me, that I drive, I make my own money, and bingo.
The first house that I remember you buying was in Queens.
South Awesome Park.
Can you tell me about that house, buying that house, moving in with the family, and then while living in that house, mommy got pregnant with Ronnie, right? So tell me about that time.
Well, I bought a house. A friend of mine, his name is Akendo, he have a grocery store, and he was my friend from Metro. So he told me that he bought a house in that area. He said, the best thing you can do is buy your own home. I said, okay. So I called his agent, and we went to see it. And I fall in love with the house that I bought. Mommy with another one. But I told Mommy, this house, 72 years old. I didn't know back then that it's 72 years old is better than 20 years old. Because, what they used to build the house, it was better material. But anyway, I like the other one, and Mommy, it was easy that time. She said, okay, let's take it. So you have to put a binder, and I put a binder of $50. Put the $50, Then in 2 weeks, he called me that the bank request show proof that I had the money for the closing, which was $5,000. And that's about it. Be ready. The paperwork is going to be done by the third or fourth week of the month. So I have a friend of mine, Sovera. He have a beer distributor. And in my job, I didn't mention when I have the beer place where I used to make $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a week.
But that was later.
Mm.
We haven't gotten to there yet. I plan on going there, trust me.
So I bought the house, and Sovera, I told Sovera what happened. I said, you know what, I have to, I commit myself to buy this house, and I need to prove them that I have the $5,000 for the closing. Yeah, don't worry. So let's go to the office. I went to the office, and his right hand, he told him, you know what, give him $5,000. Okay? No time to pay. He's going to pay me back when he got it. Wow. I said, Angel, I was not expecting this. He said, don't worry. I know what I'm doing. No? Gave me $1,000. I went to closing. I had the house. Everything was fine. The house then was full of cucarachas. Then we had to call Servio to come and exterminate the cucarachas. So then we repainted, because they paint the wall like if you paint this wall and you remove the picture, so you're gonna see, the square without paint. So, but that's the way they did it. But I want the house. So I start fixing the house little by little. A friend of mine, his name is Freddy Rio. You may probably don't remember. Freddy Rio helped me to put the carpet. I had to re-carpet the whole house. So he teach me how to do it, and I learned how to put a carpet.
And you did all these yourself?
But he told me one thing. It's always here. He said, when you're gonna cut the carpet, that is the secret. This is what you have to learn. It's not anybody can put a carpet. It's to cut it. And he said, the first thing you're gonna do when you're gonna cut the carpet is count to 10. I said, what down to 10? He said, no, you concentrate the 1, 2, 3. At the 10, you make the decision. Where and how you wanna cut it. So I did it like that. And I put a carpet from the attic to the first floor, and some places in the basement. But I don't want to put too much in the basement, because if it come a leak, so you're gonna lose the carpet. So in the basement, we make like a bodega. I have tomato sauce, tomato ketchup, juice, soda, big storage, rice, Goya beans, everything. The people from the church, they used to go to my house, and they go with shopping bag and buy. And no, I didn't sell it, but they like when they go and buy in the store, they go in my house and get the stuff for free. So I sold the house 2 years later, and I make 30-something thousand dollars. I said, I never have that much money, $30,000. Let's go to Florida. So then we moved.
So before we moved to Florida, was that the house that you were living in when you met the missionaries?
Yeah.
Can you tell me the story about when Mom first met the missionaries, how you weren't interested, and then how you ended up becoming a Mormon?
Sergio, the exterminating company, he went to do the house. When he finished, Mommy asked him, he said, you want to have a drink? No, Carmencita, I don't drink. But she know that he drink. We used to drink together. You want a Coca-Cola? No, I don't drink. No. Okay, so let me make some coffee for you. No, I don't need coffee. I said, what happened? What's wrong with you? He said, no, it's that I met a Mormon church and I want to be baptized next Saturday. And he invited her and me to go. I told Mommy, no, I'm not going to go, but you can go. So she went to the baptism. And she came crazy about the church. So I told her, I have no objection. You can be in the church for your life. But I have something else to do than go to the church. But about 2-3 weeks later, the missionary come to the house. And Mommy told them that she's not ready to listen to the lesson because I was sick. And then the missionary said, you want to talk to your husband and tell him if he want a blessing? So she walked to the attic and the missionary said that they could give you a blessing if you want. I think for a couple minutes, you know what? Let it come. So they came to the attic and they gave me a beautiful blessing. And when I had the blessing, I feel something moving to myself different. But I said, okay, goodbye, guys. Thank you so much. So they left. 2-3 minutes later, I said, I'm okay. How come? So I walk downstairs and they still there with Mommy talking to her. And they surprised. They said, Brother Vega, you feeling good? You sure you okay? Yes, I'm fine. Then he said, if you decide to take the lesson, let me know. It's free and it's a lot to earn, to gain, nothing to lose. I said, okay, I'll let you know. So Mommy, the same day, make an appointment with them. So they came. And I have a good brain. And I started talking to them and put pressure on them. But they have the answer for any question that I made. I said, you know what, Elder? I want to be baptized next Saturday. He said, no, Brother Vega, it's not like that. You have to take 13 lessons before you. Okay, so let's do 3 or 4 every time. I just want to do it. So they did it. About 2-3 weeks later, I was baptized. And that was one of the other good things that happened to me in life. Because you learn the church have many programs to help the people to grow. Like, Relief Society, priesthood meeting, general meeting, all that you learn. And you met people in the church. You can meet delinquents. Delinquent is everywhere. But in the church, the percentage you don't notice. It may be 1. But good people, 99%.
So you became a Mormon.
Mm-hmm.
And you ended up selling the house. And you made $30,000. You're like, I've never had this much money before in my life.
No.
So you decided to go to Florida.
Uh-huh.
Why did you go to Florida? And then tell me about Florida.
You know what? Still today, if you interview 1,000 people, asking them what they're going to do or where they're going to retire, And 1,000 people, 800 want to go to Florida. Only 20% goes different other places. But 80% they want to move to Florida because the weather, the cost of living, the place for the old people retire is not Kansas City, it's Florida.
But you weren't near the age of retirement at that time, right? You're in your mid-30s.
Yeah.
Right? Mid-30s, and then you go to Florida. And then tell me about moving to Florida. Why did you pick Interlochen? And
Okay, what happened in Florida? They have a commercial, a TV commercial, on the radio station that they said that if you want to live like in Puerto Rico, the good life, better weather, and a better place. So they sold land so you can build your house or you can buy a mobile home. So I went with mommy there. Mommy, she fell in love immediately with 2 pieces of land. Beautiful. And mommy said that this is what I want. I told her no. We're not ready yet. We see it, let's investigate to see if it's worth it or not. And the first one that I went asking, it was a woman from Puerto Rico, her name Olga. And she says, don't buy property over there, that's not good at all. They've been with the promise that they was gonna pave the route. They never did. Today they haven't done it. So estoy viendo algo allá con una luz.
so there's still gravel roads over there?
I didn't buy it. So then I went to another place that it was already, well, like que ya tú sabes, the one in Interlaken. What is the name where we was with the trailer that the little girl got killed?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Amber?
so I found that place.
Palaca.
No, but that's not Palaca. It got a different name. So we bought it. So I bought the mobile home double wide with the guy on the Route 17 that he got a deal. So we bought it, everything was okay, and we moved there. I started working with, what's the name of this company? Pedro, no, Pay Less. I really it's Pay Less. And he wanted to start the same day. I said, no, but I'm coming tomorrow. Okay, come tomorrow. I think it was 8 o'clock at night. So I have a job next day because my background. So then the following week, they put me as a manager. I said, no, but that's not fair. The guy who's helping me here, I'm going to jump over him and I'm going to be his manager now? No. I don't want that. But then he came to me and said, listen, I don't have to prove to no one that I'm the best of the world. But one thing I can prove is that you are the best. You know what you're doing. You do your job. You keep your job. That store they have all over the Florida. And they come to me, and they bring people in training for me to help them to do what I used to do there. Nothing is something very simple. Stock. But when you stock, you have to learn how to do it right. You remember the store, my store? It was beautiful. So then I worked there. A lot of people, they used to talk about Georgia Pacific. That was one of the bigger companies in the USA. I think it's number 4 or 5 on the top. So I get the job in Georgia Pacific. And I was making a lot of money. But one time I went to New York on Thanksgiving, and I came about 10 o'clock, and I had to start work at 11. After that trip. But I had to do it. You know, I was young. I was strong. So I went to work at 11, and the people who have a rack there is white hat or gold hat. So the gold hat is like, the white hat is on top. Then it comes gold hat. So the gold hat, so I have to stop the production line. And if it gets stuck, I gotta stop it. But the guy came to me. He said, no, if you stop the machine again, you're gonna have a serious problem. I said, why? You have in your mind that you're gonna beat me? Well, you will see. Well, you try to beat me. Try. It's not gonna work, trust me. So again, it happened. And the guy came, I saw that he grabbed a piece of iron like that we used to use to, you know, when you stop the line, so to keep on moving with that piece of iron. So when I saw he coming to me, I look on the side and I have another piece like he had. And I grab it and I beat him in the back. Boom. Then it came everybody, their white hat, everybody. And the big boss arrived about an hour later, and he said to me, Mr. Vega, you are fired. That's good. I have no problem, but let me tell you something. Gold hat have to go with me. So why? Because he caused the accident here, the incident, okay? And according to the rule of regulation of Georgia Pacific, when this happened, both have to go. So I'm ready to go. Let him go with me. And then he took me again to the office. I said, listen, this is something that we don't have to fight for it. It's already done. What is done is done. And I believe that you are a nice guy. So go home, and tomorrow you're going to come to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I think I did it. But the people, they have a lot of respect for me because they know that I don't play games. And it's something that I don't want to be. I don't like, and I don't want to be an abuser. But either I don't want to be a dumb and let the people, do what they want to. No, that's not going to happen. Even at my age, That's not gonna happen. So I worked for Georgia Pacific about a year and a half. And then I decided to come back to New York. Ernest was about a month or 2 months.
I was gonna say, while you were living in Florida, that's where Ernest was born,
Uh,
and Mom was older,
Mommy had, I think it was 42 years.
22, and there was the doctors were concerned about Mommy being.
Yeah, the doctor told her that you have to have an abortion because you're too old to have a baby. And the doctor told her and told me. I told the doctor, you know what? I didn't come here to ask you for, opinion. You take care of my wife and don't worry about anything else. I pay you for this. This is not a free service. So he came out healthy, strong, beautiful boy.
And then you left to go back to New York, and you moved to.
After that,
You moved to the house in Gildersleeve,
right.
next to Migdalia,
Uh-huh.
and then from there you moved. Well, no, you lived. Was it Stephens Avenue? The house that was next to Migdalia, and then you moved to Gildersleeve.
Right.
And during that time, you had a bodega. You went to a bodega too.
Uh-huh.
And then I remember after that bodega, you ended up getting into. You were talking about the beer distributor, which is
Uh-huh.
your most successful
Sí.
business that you've had.
See.
Tell me about the beer distributor.
Oh, that was a very good business. I think a lot of money. A lot of money. But what happened by then, we want to move to Orlando. And then I sold the business. And the guy who bought it, he owes me $76,000. And I don't want to leave until I get my money. But Mommy, she's rushing me to come. And every time she take me to the airport to come back to New York to keep in the business. So she brought Ronnie. One time Ronnie, he grabbed me by my leg. He said, "Don't leave, Bobby, please don't leave. I wanted to tell you to stay." And he made me cry. I said, "This is gonna be the last one. If I make it, that's gonna be the last one." So I went to New York, and Ito, that is the one who bought the beer, distributor, I told him, "You owe me $76,000. Give me 50, we are even." He said, "Okay, I'll let you know within an hour." So he came with $50,000 and the back. So I went 2 banks that I owe money for the car, and I paid in full, and I put the other money in the bank, and I stayed for good in Orlando.
When you lived in Gildersleeve, you bought the beer distributor, and then you bought a house in Queens.
8901 214th Street,
So
Queens Village.
Yes, in Queens Village, and we lived there. I remember you finished the basement in the house.
I rented to the missionary.
Missionaries. And then when we moved to Florida, you built the house in Florida. You sold
Yeah.
the distributor, and you sold the house to the same person. Ito had both, right?
Uh-huh.
And moved to Florida, and you started a kind of like a 7-Eleven business,
Mhm.
Crystal Lake Food Store.
Right.
Why? After you built
You
the
got a
house,
good memory.
I do. I was there. So I'm curious because I know you had some bad experiences at Crystal Lake Food Store. Can you take me through some of those experiences that you had there?
Okay. That store, it was so beautiful. But that was the only thing. beautiful. It's like when you met someone that is a beautiful person, nice person, but he have a big cancer. That store, I lost $160,000. A ver, oye, esto no lo puedo.
I got you very well.
I lost $160,000. So then I moved back to New York. Thank you, John.
While you were there at the store, did you deal with racism from many of the
Yeah.
from the distributors?
Mm-hmm.
Can you take me through some of those experiences?
You said between the last store, Crystal Lake.
Yeah, just to my recollection, at Crystal Lake Food Store, some of the distributors were very. It seemed like they were very racist, and that was some of the issues that you were having. So
Yeah, that was a lot of things. Take the whole day. Like when I see that I'm not making money in the store, I said probably I could use the store as a storage and buy in bulk, in big quantity, and sell them to the other stores, which I did. But one day the Coca-Cola company came, I told him, I need 300 of 2 liter and 100 of 1 liter. So I gave him an order. He stayed to the end. And at the end he said, Mr. Vega, I don't think that we can deliver this. So take your time, do it 2-3 times. I just wanted my product, my order. So the manager came. About an hour later, he said, we have to cancel your order. That store never buys that amount of. I said, well, they never buy it. But now, I'm buying it. And I had cash to pay. So I want it. He said, no. Let me talk to the top guy. And that guy, he spoke to me on the phone. He said, they can because there is other places that I'm going to compete with them. They have to protect them. I said, well, you don't give it to me, I'm going to get it. You don't want to serve me, don't do it. But trust me that I'm going to do it. So then I spoke to someone in the area, and I bought it from them. And I make some money. Not what I want to make, but I was making some money. And I said, well, it doesn't pay when you work and the people don't appreciate what you're doing for them. So I said, okay, I'm going back to New York. That's when I decided to sell the store. So I told the guy, the landlord, I have somebody from New York that he want to give me $110,000. I said, this is my deal. Then when we was ready to sign, the landlord said that he was not gonna extend a new lease, that he had to remain with the lease. The guy said, okay, then I don't want the store. I lost the deal. So he came after that. He said, what about, how much you really want? Bottom line, so I'm gonna buy for my girlfriend. I said, well, if you know that I was gonna get it 110, give me 100 even. He said, no. I'm gonna talk to her anyway. I'll let you know. Then he called me, he said, you know what? She's willing to give you $65,000. I said, okay. Because I knew it, that's gonna keep ongoing, that he's in Lando, he got the power. So then he came after that, he said, you know, we was ready to close, but The lawyer, he wasn't there, and he gave me some advice. And what I'm gonna do is, but I still want it. I'm gonna give you 45. I was so pissed off. I said, you know what? Go bring me the money. We're ready to close. And then came another day, another excuse, where he wants to pay only $35,000. From 110, $35,000. I said, okay. Before I get pissed off and I beat you or I do something bad, I'd rather take it. So he gave me $35,000. And I went out of there. I spent in the store close to $200,000. I got, when I moved from New York to Orlando, I have $480,000 on my pocket. When I went to the bank, they saw me with that much money that they called the FBI. And the guy, he said, tall guy with a suit, said, Mr. Vega, I hear that you came from New York. Yes, sir. He said, what are you doing there? Oh, I have a beer distributor. Yeah, which bank you deal with? Banco de Ponce. Where they located? 145 and Broadway. He said, so you was a beer distributor? Yes. He made me 1,000 questions. And then after that, it seems to me like they was recording, and in the other room, they was verifying the information. And he told me, at the end, he said to me, you know what, welcome to Orange Bank. This is a routine check. You look like a great man, so you're welcome to the bank. So I opened the account with $250,000. And so that's, from there I bought the store. But when we went to Florida, a new bike for you, for Ronnie a new bike, for Ernest a new bike. Then I bought a minivan, brand new, that was in the '89.
A motorcycle?
I bought a brand new motorcycle because I want to learn the city. And when you drive a motorcycle, you can see better. So I bought a brand new motorcycle. And I have a great time. I built a pool which cost me $35,000 beside the house. The house, it was 105. Today, the house may be worth 300, something like that.
Speaking of motorcycle, I want to go back to when we were living in Interlaken, and there was a time that you and Papote were on the motorcycle, and you had a flat on a motorcycle. Can you tell us the story?
I thought that was going to be the last day of my life. I was in the highway. It's a straight highway, no curve. But the people, they run like crazy there. They drive crazy there. So when I hear, boom, back tire, and I told Papote, grab me, hold, don't be afraid, nothing gonna happen, but don't. No, Daddy, no, okay, keep on going. And then I don't even touch the brake, I let it slow down myself. And I pull him to the side because I knew that we were gonna fall down. But in the grass, so you don't get hurt. So we don't even fall. I stopped, and then I don't remember who I called, fix it, and that's about it. But it was a very dangerous.
You moved from Orlando after you lost a lot of money there, and we ended up moving up to Hartsdale, White Plains, New York. Why did you choose? We always lived in either the Bronx or at the very end, Queens.
I don't even remember why, but I like that place. It was nice, and you have the park to play. That was good. By then you drive. Ronnie was learning. Remember, we went to the hill because he was a stick shift. He can make it.
Do you remember? May have told you the story. Do you remember the day that you taught me how to drive standard?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna jump in and tell the story, and let me know if you remember this. Okay. We were living in the condominiums in White Plains, and we
Se llama Greenberg.
Greenberg, yes, which is right next to White Plains. And you told me, Effrey, get into the driver's seat of the car. And I said, oh, okay. So I get into the driver's seat, and you sat in the passenger seat. And you said, put your seatbelt on. So I put my seatbelt on. And you said, okay, put the car in neutral, which means just take the stick and just make sure that it's not in the gear, and put your foot on the brake. I did it. Said turn the key and start it. So I started it. And then you told me put my left foot on the clutch, and put it all the way down to the ground, and you see the stick? I said yes. You see how the stick gives you directions of how to get into gear? I said yes. He said I want you to put it in the first gear. And I was like, okay. At that moment I knew that I was gonna get a lesson in how to drive standard, so I got excited. Little did I know that as soon as you told me to put it in first gear, put the emergency brake down, you told me to turn and start going down the hill. And I started driving down the hill, and you were explaining to me how to reduce the clutch and to put my foot on the gas. So I was kind of getting the hang of learning how to, change gears from 1 to 2. That's all I knew at that point as we were going down the hill. When we got to the exit point of the complex, you told me to turn left. Well, we're on the main road. And I said, Dad, but we're on the main road, and those roads are very thin. You can't turn around. It's kind of like in a hill area. And I was like, Dad, there's no way to turn around. If I make a left here, I'm gonna have to go down this hill, and we're gonna be on the Springbrook Parkway. And you said, yep, get on the Springbrook, we're going to the Bronx. And I immediately became nervous. But to your credit, I got on the Springbrook, and I'm driving this car, eventually in the Bronx River Parkway, and I'm feeling really confident. I'm feeling pretty good. I've gotten the hang of the gears. And then we get into the Bronx, and you tell me to get off on Gun Hill Road. So I got off on Gun Hill Road, and the light's green. I'm trying to rush to catch this light. There's 2 cars in front of me, and they catch the light, and I'm the 3rd car in line, and I put my foot on the brake, and I say, holy shit. How am I going to get this car into gear? And I said, Dad, I was like, I don't know how to get this car into gear. I'm driving on a flat highway. We're on the hill. This car's gonna roll back. And if you drive in the Bronx, you know that cars go right up into your bumper when you stopped at a light. And I put the gear in first, and I start to sweat. And I said, Dad, I'm gonna burn this clutch because I'm gonna roll back into this car. This car is right on my ass. You turned around and you said, good luck. And the light turns green, and the cars start to go, and I'm stopped. I froze. I froze there. You remember that? I froze there, and I said, "Oh shit!" And then you hear beep. There's about 10 cars going all the way down to the Bronx River Parkway. Beep. I mean, there's nothing more nerve-wracking than hearing all these cars beeping, and then of course, move the fucking car, right? You turned to me, you smiled, and you said, Effrey, the light is green. I burned the shit out of that clutch. All you heard was, and I just went up the hill, and I turned right, and then we're going to the store on 204th Street. so it's not too far when you get off the Parkway. And I drive to the store. When I park, I'm sweating. I'm sitting there sweating. And I turn, and then Grandpa's like, well, at least we know that you can drive back. And my fondest memory of you growing up, I've never seen you pressured. There was never a moment that you felt nervous. You always were even, and that's something that I was never able to master. I'm super emotional. I go from 1 to 10. But what I admire about you is that you're even. No one can take you out of your element. Where did you learn that?
That's natural.
Natural?
That's come from you. You know, you've been born the way you are. You can improve, but you cannot change.
Have you ever felt out of control? Have you ever felt in a emotional state where you feel like you're not in control? Have you ever felt that way?
No, creo. I think that what I do it, you know, with my conscience. I know what I'm doing. Sometimes it's wrong what I do, but I don't lose control. You see, that thing happened to me was in the Bronx. There was a guy. He was parked, and then I parked on the front on the fire hydrant, and I just touched the car, but just a touch, and the black guy came like crazy. I said, you know what? I'm really sorry. Don't worry. If it's something wrong, I pay. I fix you. But I don't see nothing wrong. And then he was arguing, but you know, these people, they always like that. Until he told me, you mother flower. I said, wait a minute. This is my turn. I grab my baston, I have my cane, boom, and I beat the guy. And then I called the police. Yeah. So the police came. She was a Colombian girl and a Dominican guy. So they came. They asked me what happened. I told them what happened, and that was about it. He had the information. Nothing else happened after that. Next day, I was prepared. I said, this time, I'm going to have the second fight. But the guy disappeared. And about 2 weeks later, he came. But he didn't argue. He didn't think anything that passed.
When you have I'm going to kind of jump around to stories. When you had the beer distributor, Papote used to do deliveries there. And there was a time that he was driving a truck, and he hit somebody on a bike. It was somebody from the neighborhood. And Papote immediately, instead of getting out, and he immediately drove. It wasn't too far. It was probably up the block from the distributor. And Papote rushes to get to the distributor, pulls in, right? Runs out and goes inside and tells you what happened. Unbeknownst to you, about 50 or 60 people with bats from the neighborhood all come into the parking lot of the beer distributor looking for Papote. Can you tell me the story about what happened after that?
I have a raffle for hunting. So when I saw so many people, I grabbed my handgun and said, okay, or walk away, or someone gonna get killed tonight. So they all walk away. Other day, it happened that he wanted to go to see his girlfriend. He was with Marta Cordova. And he was in rush. I told Papote, take it easy. You have plenty time to do that. If you get in trouble driving like you are doing this now. I'm not gonna respond to you. I'm gonna stay in the car. I don't even. And the way that I told him, the way it happened, about 5 minutes later, he hit another car. And then he said, Daddy, ¿qué hago? ¿Qué hago? What do I do? I said, well, you did it. I told you. Slow down. You didn't obey what I, so now you take care. When he saw the guy coming out of the car, he's a tall guy, that about 7 foot. When he saw that guy, he started shaking. So then I feel compassion with him. I'm not gonna let nobody to beat my son. I told him, you're gonna take care of your own problem, but I'm not gonna let him by himself. So finally, the guy came. I talked to the guy. I said, listen, I have a beer receiver over here. If you need the car to be fixed, bring it. We go to your shop, and I pay. So everything was okay. He took off. I took off. The next day he came to the beer place and he told me, Mr. Vega, I know that you are a nice guy. I talked to the people in the neighborhood, so don't worry about that. You don't have to pay anything. That's all.
You-
We have to get out of here.
Yeah.
Grandpa, I just have one question for you, because I want people to watch this video for years to come. Looking back on your life, aside from just giving people the advice of telling them to work,